My name is Bella, and for most of my life, I believed I came into this world alone. No siblings, no cousins I was close to, just me, my parents, and silence. But I always felt like something was missing, a shadow beside me, an echo I couldn't explain. And one day I found out why. Because the sister I was told had died at birth, the one I mourned without ever meeting, was alive. And not just alive. She'd been living with our aunt my entire life. It started with a lie, a quiet, well-rehearsed lie I never thought to question. I was 7 years old when I first heard about her. I was rummaging through drawers in my parents' room looking for crayons or stickers when I found a dusty little box filled with baby items, hospital bracelets, a pink pacifier, and 2 name tags. Both said Baby Girl Carter. 2, not 1. I ran to my mom with the box in my hands. She froze when she saw it. Then in the softest voice she said, "Bella, there was another baby. Your twin sister, but she didn't make it." I stood there confused. "She died?" Mom nodded. "She never took her first breath, and that was that. No funeral photo, no birth certificate, no name, just silence." As I got older, the silence became normal. My parents rarely brought her up, and when they did, it was vague. "It's too painful. Let the past rest." But the thing is, I didn't feel like she was gone. I used to dream about her, not as a ghost or something supernatural, but as a real person. She had my face, my laugh, but a completely different energy. I'd wake up in tears, feeling like someone was missing from the room. I carried that ache quietly through high school, college, and into my 20s. Until one day, everything unraveled. It started with a funeral. My Aunt Elise passed away, my dad's sister. We were never close. My parents said she was eccentric and unstable, and that we shouldn't spend too much time around her. But I remembered her warm smile, the way she used to bring 2 of everything when I was little. 2 cookies, 2 party favors, even 2 birthday cards. Like she was seeing someone who wasn't there. At her funeral, there weren't many people. Just a few distant cousins and neighbors, and a man I didn't recognize, mid-20s, quietly standing near the back. After the service, I wandered through Elise's old house, helping sort boxes while the lawyer handled her will. The house was dusty, quiet, and full of unopened envelopes. In a box labeled private, I found something that stopped my heart, a stack of photos, dozens of them, all of a girl who looked exactly like me. Same dark eyes, same crooked smile, same dimple I hated in high school. She wasn't a stranger, she was me. But the timestamps told a different story. These photos were taken throughout my life, at ages I recognized, and I didn't remember any of them, because they weren't of me. Taped to the back of one photo was a note in Elise's handwriting. Maya, age 10. Wore Bella's favorite color today. She asked if Bella still liked purple. My knees nearly gave out. Maya? I grabbed more photos, flipping through years of someone else's life. Playdates, school portraits, beach trips, all cataloged, all carefully hidden. The lawyer walked in and saw me shaking. "Are you all right?" I held up the photos. "Who is this?" He glanced down. His face went pale. "Oh, I thought you knew." I didn't say a word, just stared at him until he answered. "That's Maya, Elise's daughter." "Daughter?" I whispered. "She didn't have children?" He looked uneasy. "She did. One, but it was always private." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. "Was she adopted?" He hesitated. There was no record of an adoption. I left immediately and drove straight to my parents' house. My mother opened the door, surprised to see me. I walked in without asking. "Tell me who Maya is." She blinked. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me, Mom. I saw the photos. I saw her face." Her expression flickered just for a second, before settling into a tight, practiced look. "Elise had issues, Bella. You know that. She probably used your photos and made up stories." "She didn't. There are photos of Maya holding up drawings with her name on them, school IDs, letters addressed to her." My mother went quiet. I looked her in the eye. "You told me my twin sister died." Her voice broke. "She did to us." That's when I knew it was true. I had a sister. She didn't die. They just gave her away. I wanted to scream, to cry, to demand an explanation, but all I could whisper was why. And my mother, the woman who raised me, looked at me and said, "Because we couldn't handle two. Elise said she would take her for a while, just until we got on our feet. But then she bonded with her. And your father said it was for the best." I stared at her, horrified. "You gave your daughter away and told me she was dead." She whispered, "It was easier." I didn't speak another word. I just walked out, got in my car, and cried so hard I had to pull over. Because the ache I'd felt all my life, the echo I couldn't explain, it had a name, Maya. And I was going to find her. I couldn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling in my tiny apartment, Maya's face flashing in my mind with every blink, her eyes, my eyes, her smile, my smile. All those years I felt like something was missing, like I was walking around with half a heart. And now I knew why. Because I was. I didn't tell anyone I was looking for her. Not my parents, not even my best friend. I wanted this to be mine, just between me and the truth. The lawyer from Elise's estate had mentioned the name of Maya's school in passing. Something about helping process tuition years ago. I started there. It was a small private academy, and luckily Elise had used her own last name for Maya, Maya Fields. A quick online search gave me a graduation photo from 2 years ago. Maya Fields, high honors, art scholarship, and looking exactly like me. I scrolled further, social media, old news bulletins, alumni pages. Finally, I found a tagged photo of her at an art exhibit, smiling in front of a giant abstract painting with deep purples and grays. The caption read, "Maya Fields, first solo exhibit, proud of you, sis." It was posted by a woman named Tasha. I messaged her. "Hi, sorry to bother you. I'm looking for Maya Fields. Can I ask how I might contact her? It's really important." She didn't respond right away. For 2 days, I refreshed my phone every hour, heart pounding. Then she replied, "Maya doesn't use this account anymore. Can I ask who's looking for her?" I paused. I wanted to blurt it out, but I didn't want to scare her, so I typed slowly. "My name is Bella. I believe I'm her sister." It took another full day before I heard back. This time it wasn't a message, it was a phone call, unknown number. I picked up on the first ring. A quiet voice said, "Hi, Bella?" I froze. "Maya?" She didn't say anything for a second, then softly, "I think we need to talk." We agreed to meet the next day, at a small cafe downtown, neutral, public, quiet. I got there early and waited with shaking hands, my heart thudding so loud I could barely think. Then she walked in. Same height, same hair, same everything. But something in her posture was different. She carried herself like someone who'd been waiting too. We stood in silence. Then, like magnets, we just hugged. And for the first time in my life, I felt whole. We sat down. Neither of us touched our drinks. I was the first to speak. "You knew, didn't you?" She nodded. "Not everything, but I always knew something wasn't right." She told me Elise had raised her like a daughter, but with constant guilt. There were no baby photos, no birth certificate until she was nearly 5. And when she started asking questions, Elise gave vague answers. But as Maya got older, she pieced things together. "I found a letter once, tucked inside a photo album. It was from your mom, our mom. It said she was sorry, but she couldn't do it, that I'd be better off with Elise." She looked down. At first, I thought I was adopted, but I knew I wasn't. I looked too much like someone I'd never met. I felt my throat tighten. "Me." She nodded. "Maya said Elise never meant to keep us apart forever. She had planned to reconnect us one day when the time was right. But then she got sick, and whatever truth she'd been holding on to died with her. Almost. Until I found the photos. We sat in silence, 2 lives tangled together by lies. Finally, face to face. I asked her if she hated our parents. She hesitated. "I don't know. I think I just stopped thinking of them as mine. Elise was all I knew, and she was good to me. Strict, but kind. I never felt unloved. I envied her for that." And then she said something that broke me. "Did they love you, Bella?" I couldn't answer, because I didn't know. We spent hours talking, comparing memories that never overlapped, birthdays spent apart, milestones missed, fantasies we had both had about having a sister, not realizing we already did. When we finally stood to leave, she held my hand and said, "I don't know where we go from here, but I want to know you." I squeezed her hand. "We've already lost enough time. We're not losing more." But just as we were beginning to rebuild what was stolen from us, my parents found out we had met, and they weren't ready for what came next. My parents didn't call. They didn't text. They showed up, uninvited, at my apartment 2 days after Maya and I met. I opened the door and saw them both standing there. My mom looked pale. My dad, stone-faced and silent. I didn't even let them speak. "You lied to me for 25 years. My mother looked at me with watery eyes. "Bella, we thought it was for the best." I crossed my arms. "Whose best?" She took a shaky breath. "You were so small, we didn't have the money, the resources," Elise offered. "She had a stable job, no children, and we panicked. We thought it would be temporary." I stared at her, feeling a mix of rage and disbelief. "You told me she died. You let me cry over a baby that never died. You made me think I was alone." My father finally spoke. "It was her idea, your mother's. I didn't agree at first." She spun toward him. "Don't you dare," I interrupted. "Save it. I don't care whose idea it was. You both let it happen, and you never told me the truth." They tried to backpedal. They said Elise got too attached, that she didn't want to give Maya back after a few months, that she refused to let go. I didn't believe it, and even if it were true, why didn't you fight for her? Why didn't you tell me the truth once I was old enough to understand? My mother burst into tears. My father said nothing, and that was all the answer I needed. Later that night, I called Maya, told her what happened. She didn't sound surprised. I figured they'd blame Elise, they always did. Then she said something that chilled me. "You know, I think they always meant to keep us apart." I paused. "Why?" She hesitated. "There's something you should see. I didn't bring it up before because I wasn't sure how you'd take it. The next morning, I met Maya at Elise's house. It hadn't been sold yet. The furniture still sat under dust covers, the air thick with silence and secrets. Maya led me into Elise's old study. She pulled a folder from a locked drawer. Inside was a stack of letters, one on all written by our mom. Some before we were born, some after. And the first one started with, "Elise, I'm not ready for two. I can barely handle one. If you really want a baby, take her. I'll keep the other, but we never speak of this again." I couldn't breathe. I flipped through the letters, each more chilling than the last. Letters talking about splitting the burden. Letters begging Elise not to ruin Bella's life by ever revealing the truth. Letters blaming Maya's existence on Elise's selfishness. They weren't just hiding Maya, they were offloading her, like an unwanted task, like a favor, like a secret they'd rather bury than confront. I sat on the floor of Elise's study, holding the letters like they were radioactive. Maya sat beside me and whispered, "I'm sorry." I shook my head. "You don't owe me that." "They do." But I already knew they'd never give it. We stayed at Elise's that night, sat on the back porch wrapped in blankets, watching the stars. And for the first time, I told her everything. The loneliness, the ache, the feeling that someone was always missing. Even before I knew why. She cried. Then she told me something that made me cry too. When I was little, I used to draw pictures of a girl who looked like me. I named her Bella. I didn't know where I got the name, it just came. We stared at each other, and then we laughed, through tears. But as beautiful as that moment was, something darker was still coming. Because there was one more letter, and it was not addressed to Elise. It was addressed to a lawyer. It read, "I want this on file in case Elise tries to change the custody. She was never legally given guardianship, and I don't want the child returned to me. I'm waiving all claims. This was her choice." My jaw dropped. They signed away their rights. Maya's voice cracked. "They gave me up, fully." I turned to her, but they never told anyone. I called Elsie, the same lawyer who helped me in the past. I sent her the letter and explained everything. She called back an hour later. "Bella, what you have isn't just a letter. It's a legal admission. If it was filed and never acted on, it could still be binding. It means they effectively terminated parental rights without ever informing you or Maya." I swallowed hard. "What does that mean now?" Her voice softened. "It means you and Maya can pursue full legal sibling status, even retroactively. It also means your parents may be liable for perjury if they ever claim she died or forged records." I stared at the phone. This wasn't just a secret anymore. It was a crime. We had a choice to make: go public and possibly destroy what little remained of our family's name, or stay quiet and protect the people who threw us away. Maya looked at me and said, "They didn't protect us. Why should we protect them?" And I agreed. Maya and I made our decision the next day. We weren't going to hide the truth, because we'd already lived our entire lives in someone else's lie. We took the letters, the photo evidence, the altered birth certificate Elise had tried to file, and the legal document waiving custody, and we handed it all over to Elsie. She reviewed everything and said just one word: "This is enough." What followed was a whirlwind of legal filings. Elsie helped us file for retroactive legal sibling status and a petition to amend both of our birth records to reflect the truth. But more than that, she submitted a formal complaint to the state, requesting an investigation into our parents' original statements and documents. "You may not get a criminal case," she said, "but this will be on the record, and that matters." And it did. A month later, we were both called to a formal hearing. The judge looked at the documents, the signed custody waiver, the forged statements, the photos, the decades of separation, and then looked at us. Two women, same face, same birthday, torn apart by the people who were supposed to protect us. He took a breath and said, "I don't know what breaks my heart more, that this happened or that it went on for so long." Then he ruled our birth records would be corrected, our legal status as sisters would be acknowledged, and we'd have the option to pursue further civil action if we chose. I thought I'd feel relief, and I did, but it was bittersweet, because justice didn't erase what we lost, it just named it, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. We didn't sue our parents, not because we forgave them, but because we didn't need anything from them anymore. We sent them a letter, together. No threats, no accusations, just a single paragraph. "We found each other. We know what you did. We're moving forward without you." They never replied. Some months later, Maya and I moved in together, into Elise's old house. We kept some of her things, her favorite chair, her old record player, a few of her scarves still hanging behind the door. Because whatever mistakes she made, and yes, she made them, she chose to love us. She didn't abandon us, she didn't lie, she tried, in her own way, to keep us whole. Maya started teaching art at a local community center. I finally finished my degree in counseling, and together we started a small support group for adults affected by family separation and lies. We called it Missing Pieces, because that's what we were until we found each other. And every year on our shared birthday, we do the same thing. We bake 2 cakes, we light 2 candles, and we say to each other what no one ever said to us when we came into this world. "I'm so glad you're here." Because in the end, this wasn't just a story about a lie, it was a story about love finding its way back through grief, silence, and time, and finally being seen.